live finally.
Yes, after many technical difficulties, we finally got...
It's technology. It's like it seems the more it advances, the more glitches it has.
Well, there's just more steps to go through, right?
Yeah.
And once you get to a certain point, you have to go back and get everything lined up again. So it's
Yeah.
time-consuming.
Yeah, so basically we had a router problem, for those who are wondering. And we tried all kinds of possible combinations and nothing worked, so now we finally got it. So this is Age of Reason. Today is Saturday, May 23rd, 2015. We are a live streaming show that promotes positive atheism, knowledge, and common sense. With me today is returning champion Jeremy Deschner.
I'm happy to be here, thank you.
So I actually really consider you now a kind of regular member of the show.
Hey, I got a promotion.
It's not just because it's the third time you are here already.
Correct.
It's also because you also do research on your own. Like if I ask you to do something, you look into that. So.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's part of my job as the president of the the Japan Asian Society. Sorry, I've made a mistake.
Atheist Society.
Atheist Society.
Yeah.
That's my own group, and I've messed up the name. Yeah. So I have to do a lot of research. So people ask me questions all the time. They say, what does this mean? And someone brought this approach to me, and I know it's a logical fallacy, but how can I argue this fact? So I have to go in and I have to do research.
Yeah.
Which is what sets us apart from most people who claim to be like religious. They don't do any research. They just kind of heard stuff from another person, or they think they saw something in the back of the book. The book of magic. Yeah. So. Yeah, lots of research. Yeah. Which one's a good question.
Yeah, so, okay, well, today we're going to talk about mainly three main things, and we're going to start Exodus in the Bible.
Right.
And then we're going to continue, actually, the Founding Father quotes that we started in the last two shows, and we're going to finish off with a kind of emotional video about Iraq. It's kind of graphic. Well, it's actually very graphic.
It's very graphic. Be warned.
Yeah, but it just kind of shows the brutality of the war, but also, I don't know. I mean, it's...
Well, I mean, obviously, I think we have different opinions on what's actually what's taking place in the video.
Yes.
So let's save that for the end of the show and move on with... I think you said Founding Father?
Well, Exodus first and then Founding Fathers.
Exodus first, okay.
And I just have a quick announcement to make. On the very, very first show, I had this Australian guy who joined in at the last minute, Drew. And he was recently in touch with me, and I might do a podcast with him in August.
Oh,
so
that's good.
It's obviously his thing,
right.
But, it's good. He's coming back to Japan, so might as well do it.
Yeah.
And in July, I'm doing a special episode. I did already announce it on the Facebook page, but just one more time. It's going to be a special episode about Philippines in particular. I have a friend who participated in my documentary. He did an interview. He's an atheist, a Filipino atheist, which is very important.
It's very important to point out, yeah.
And basically, a lot of my... people on my page actually, because I messed up the initial promotion, did sign up from the Philippines, and they are actually religious. And I think it would be very good to address that part of the group.
Yeah, I think from my knowledge of the Philippines, religion plays a big part in their culture. So it's going to be interesting to watch that episode.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of stuff in that they do over there, which is just bizarre.
I saw the videos of the guy putting the nails in his hand for real.
Or the flogging, they call it flogging.
Yeah, like the self beating, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's suffer. Let's suffer for Jesus. Gotta suffer for Jesus. He suffered for us.
Sure, he did.
All right. So anyway, let's jump into Exodus. We're just beginning it.
Okay.
We just finished Genesis in the last show.
Right.
Finally. So it actually took 12 shows to finish one book, I guess, right? Because the book of Genesis.
So we're in for the long haul. We have a long way to go.
Yeah, if you thought Genesis was long, just wait till Exodus. But so anyway, you had something to say about that, because
I've done my research, and there's no historical facts in the book of Exodus. I think it's just a made up story. There's no proof. There's no historical proof that the Jews were ever in Egypt during that time period, or that they were slaves. I don't think there's any proof. If there is, please show me of where they helped build pyramids. I don't think that's factual. And there's also no proof that they spent a lot of time, 40 years, I think, wandering around the desert.
Yeah.
So, and if God was leading them around in the desert, why didn't he have a GPS?
Yes.
It seems like 40 years, start losing my patience.
Yeah. And so, it's not even that far, really.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, didn't we walk past this before? I don't know. It's just a sand dune.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the story.
And just to complete what you were saying, the evidence that I found is basically it was an independent newspaper in the UK, and they mentioned the fact that the whole slavery thing when building the pyramids was mostly a fabrication. Maybe actually all of it entirely was a fabrication of Hollywood movies.
Okay.
Because they did their research and they found out that a lot of those workers actually were paid for the work.
Okay.
And they were not slaves. They were like Egyptian workers, basically.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned to me that the proof of that is that they had actual like tombs for them. I think slaves were probably just, I don't know this for a fact, I'm just talking, but I think slaves were probably just discarded or chucked into a pit. But
thrown in the Nile or whatever.
Just disposed of, basically like not a human being, just an object.
Yeah.
So the fact that they had tombs was something that you pointed out that shows us that they were actually paid workers
and kind of respected, obviously.
Respected
for the work. I think it's basically propaganda in a way. By the West. I mean, anyway, let's jump into it. So we're gonna do just the same way as in Genesis. I'm gonna read the quote and we're just gonna discuss it.
Okay.
So, some of them are pretty short, but in Exodus, most of them are pretty long. So you are warned. All right. So the first one we got. And well, we talked about that one, but anyway. So this is Moses flees to Midian. So one day when Moses had grown up, he went out to his people and looked on their burdens, and he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his people. Right. He looked this way and that, and seeing no one, he struck down the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. Okay. Yeah, so basically he's a murderer.
Yeah, so
right
also
away.
He's a very proficient martial artist, apparently.
Yeah, like a ninja.
Yeah, like a ninja.
Hide him. Yeah.
So took him down and dug a hole really quick and put him in the sand.
Yeah, it's like Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid, awesome. Yeah, good reference.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say for that one. And then, of course, well, like you said, though, so this kind of shows his maybe passage in life. So he started out as a ruffian, and then God revealed himself to Moses, and Moses became guided by...
A lot of good it did for the Egyptian, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that Egyptian guy was just like, aside from being really weak, he got taken out by Moses, right?
Yeah.
And God doesn't even tell you like his name in the book. His name is just an Egyptian dude, Egyptian man.
Yes.
And Moses just kicks his ass and buries him.
Yeah. Then, of course, well, God hears Israel's groaning, okay? During those many days, the king of Egypt died, and the people of Israel groaned because of their slavery and cried out for help. Their cry for rescue from slavery came up to God.
How? What's the method?
Yeah. And again,
how long did that take? I mean, they were okay. So let's just pretend like it's true. They were slaves, and then because they liked it up until a certain point. I don't know, and then suddenly they're like, you know what, this kind of sucks. Get God on the phone.
Yeah.
And let's tell him to sort this out for us.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Go ahead.
The next one is the next one is probably my favorite one because the title of the chapter is The Burning Bush. All right, so it says, and the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush.
Of course he did.
He looked, and behold, the bush was burning, yet it was not consumed.
I want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've consumed some of those, maybe in the past. I'm not admitting anything.
But okay, so my one comment about that. Well, first of all, there's two actually. First of all, it's ridiculous. I mean,
Right.
okay, so there's apparently some dude who appears in a cloud of fire. Okay, we've never seen that again,
Right.
ever again.
Right.
And the other thing is, of course, the burning bush. So okay, I get it. Okay, so basically the bush is on fire, but it doesn't like fall apart.
Okay.
I've never seen that happen.
It could be a metaphor. Maybe like I was just joking around, like saying it was marijuana, but it could be a metaphor for something else. And then DMT is released by several plants, right? And and if it was on fire or if it was burning, maybe it's causing smoke, which he inhaled.
Yeah.
Caused his brain to produce DMT, which put him on a trip from Neverland, like you know, where he's seeing dudes like in clouds.
Yeah.
Hey, dude in the cloud. What? You want me to do something? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. All right.
Still the same chapter, moving on. Then Moses said to God, if I come to the people of Israel and say to them, wait a second. Yeah, that's correct. The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? God said to Moses, I am who I am. That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Popeye, right?
That's a good answer. Yeah. And he said, say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent me to you. This is such horrible English. I mean, I swear it's like kids wrote this, you know.
Yeah, well, it was written by Bronze Age people who had no education whatsoever, so.
Yeah. It goes on a little bit. So God also said to Moses, say this to the people of Israel. The Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and thus I am to be remembered throughout all generations. That would suck if you go to a job interview and you have to say, all right, I'm the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. That's a long name.
Yeah, start writing that down.
Yeah. You might run out of space in the box.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's all for that, and still the same chapter, the very end of it.
But let's recap. Let's, if you don't mind,
go ahead.
So, going back on what I said before, this guy's like around a burning bush, inhaling something that's making him see creatures in clouds, and then he's hearing the voice of God.
Right.
And no one for a second even goes, maybe this guy has had a mental break or something wrong with him. They're like, maybe we'll just follow him for a while.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, man.
And maybe there was somebody up there just talking to him at the time, and he thought it's God.
Yeah, but I mean, why would you even start listening to a voice in your head telling you to do stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because back then I think they didn't know that it could happen. So you go on a trip, for example, and because there was no science back then to understand it.
I understand that part, but I mean, wouldn't the natural reaction be to be scared of something and like try to run away from it instead of? I don't know. I think that's what he would have probably done if it was real. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. The end of the chapter. So, and I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, and when you go, you shall not go empty, but each woman shall ask of her neighbor, and any woman who lives in her house, for silver and gold, jewelry, and for clothing. You shall put them on your sons, that sounds so weird, and on your daughters, so you shall plunder the Egyptians.
So rob them bitches.
Yeah.
So God's idea was like, first, we're going to get high, then we're going to hear voices, then we're going to go rob some Egyptians.
Yeah.
You mean the guys, not only did he kill them, now he's going to rob from them.
Right.
This guy's a dick.
Yeah. Yeah. And clearly, you can see that this book was written from only one point of view, a very specific point of view.
Absolutely. And I just don't understand what's happening.
Yeah. Me neither.
So he hears voices in his head, and now he's going to go rob some people.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
All right, yeah.
Continue on.
Yeah, okay, so the next part here. And the Lord said to Moses, when you go back to Egypt, see that you do before Pharaoh all the miracles that I have put in your power. But the next part is really one that bugs me, because he says, but I will harden his heart, so that he will not let the people go. Then you shall say to Pharaoh, thus says the Lord Israel of my firstborn son, and I say to you, let my son go, blah, blah, blah. Okay, So God will harden the heart of Pharaoh, so Pharaoh refuses the request.
Yeah.
I don't see why it's so complicated. I mean,
why doesn't he just do it himself?
Exactly.
He's magic. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he could do anything.
Well, if you can harden the heart, you can soften the heart too. I mean, just do that.
I don't even know what those terms mean.
I think I
think he he's gonna go no.
Yeah.
Let my people go. No. Let them go. No. Let them go. No. How long is this going to go on for?
I don't know. Well, actually, it goes on for quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we'll see that. But just to finish off with that for today, last two passages, God spoke to Moses and said to him, I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty. But by my name, the Lord, I did not make myself known to them. Well, okay, my question is, why not?
Yeah, he could have saved us a lot of time.
Yes. Moreover, I have heard the groaning of the people of Israel, whom the Egyptians hold as slaves, and I have remembered my covenant. Well, this comes back to what you were saying. Mm-hmm. I mean, if he is almighty and all-seeing and all-powerful, shouldn't he be able to see that there are slaves right there and not living well, not happy?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, didn't he create? If he created everything, he created slavery.
Yes.
So he obviously, had a. I guess if he had a plan, they always say like God's plan.
Yeah.
So he had a plan for them to be slaves.
Yeah.
This guy's a dick, man. He's
total.
It's just not. It's not working for me.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And he's also lazy. He gets everybody else to do his work.
His work, yeah.
And then he takes all the credit for it.
Yes.
I know a guy like that back at my office. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, I mean that's all I wanted to do for here. Do you have any other comments or?
I'm just telling you. This book for me is just the idea that all this happened in real life and people actually believe that scares me.
Yeah.
Just by reading that and listening to what crazy claims they're making in this 2 or 3 chapters that we just read, and then people actually think that happened and actually follow that.
Just wait till we get to the plagues.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Now that's magic for you.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait. I'm excited.
All right, so let's move on to
the
next thing we have on the menu, and the next thing we have on the menu is
Founding Fathers.
Yeah. So we're gonna obviously do one each. I'll do the first one. For me, the first one is very important. I'll tell you why. So I'll read it first, and then I'll tell you why. Mm-hmm. Knowledge, and this is from James Madison, by the way. Knowledge will forever govern ignorance, and the people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the power which knowledge gives. Okay, so, well, first of all, I really love this quote because it's about knowledge and getting knowledge, which is so important.
Right.
But for me, it's important on another point, because a lot of people say that the purpose of life, I guess, the point of life is just to survive, to have children and stuff like that. I might agree with that if the population was quite small, but right now we have actually too many people on the planet. So I think now the meaning is a bit different. And for me, the meaning of life now, for humans anyway, is knowledge.
Okay.
Well, because if there is no transfer of knowledge, there is absolutely, you just go back in the time scale. And
well, I agree. I mean, science builds on itself, right? You're working you're working on what everybody else has accomplished up to this point. You don't have to go back and redo their work again. So it's an accumulation. Yeah. So I think at this point, gathering more knowledge for the next generation is kind of what our job is, right? To do that for everyone. Yeah. And that's why we send our kids to school. We go to school ourselves, and and we're always trying to read and research and stuff like that to gain more knowledge.
Yeah,
it's true.
Well, that's the point I wanted to make anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So next one is yours.
We'll go with mine now. This one is from Thomas Jefferson. Question with boldness even the existence of a God, because if there is one, he must approve of the homage of reason, rather than that of blindfolded fear. Right. So he wants you to question everything, not learn everything, but question everything, which is what we've always say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teach your kids to question, not just to listen.
Yeah, and I think that one of the key words in that sentence is probably fear, because Well, obviously, a lot of people fear the unknown. Even on a simpler example, a lot of people just feel darkness, for example, right? We can't see anything, so we feel threatened by it.
Well, I mean, the whole idea of Christianity is that they rule through fear.
Yes.
Oh, fear! If you don't do what we say, you're going to catch on fire, and then somehow that's going to go forever.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but anyways, magic again.
Yeah.
So they kind of just say, do what we want, and go this way, and think this way, and do what we say, or something bad's going to happen. That's ruling people through fear.
Yep.
And even like the really, really fundamental people, they even try to tone down knowledge. Like watch these documentaries on like Jesus Camp, where you got these homeschooled children whose parents say the state requires you to read this book, but then as soon as they read the book about science or evolution, mom comes plopping in from the kitchen and she says, oh, that's not what Jesus did, and that's not what God said, and look here in this little Bible, and this Bronze Age book written by people who don't even really
know where the sun goes at night.
Yeah, don't know where the sun goes, think the earth is flat. Look what they said.
Yeah.
So it's really is controlling people through fear and dumbing them down.
Yeah, and I'm just going to make a very quick link to the later part of our show, because one of the really horrible things that Bush did when in office is that he really brought the religion into the office.
Yeah.
I mean, he basically told, okay, like in schools, the theory of evolution and intelligent design should both be taught as if they are on the same exact level.
Yeah. I can't believe that.
No.
Yeah. So I mean, teaching nonsense, it does more damage. Like, so people often ask, oh, if I want to be religion, I want to be religious, I want to be a Christian, what does it matter to you? Well, what matters to me is that you're teaching people to not think, and you're telling them not to become more knowledgeable and to accept things on faith, which is gullibility.
Yes.
Don't research that, because you've got to have faith. Don't look it up. No, don't Google that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to have faith. That damages society.
Yes.
Your religion damages society. Your false beliefs damage society.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the evil things that Christianity does.
Yeah.
And religion in general. Yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, even today, there are flat earthers.
Yeah. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
There was that guy on YouTube saying, like, if the Earth wasn't flat, how come, like, if an airplane goes in the air and it stops, China doesn't just like
Yes, that's the video I shared.
Underneath it. Yeah, that's right.
It was a Muslim.
I was just watching that with my mouth open, going, "Oh my God, this guy's taking the piss." I think he's a joke.
Yeah.
If like Joe Rogan put on like the same clothes and started telling that, I would be rolling on the floor laughing.
Yeah. No, that's just ridiculous. Yeah.
It's crazy. All right,
next one is from John Adams. That one I also like, and that one I think the last time you were on the show, we kind of touched upon this very point. So anyway, facts are stubborn things, and whatever may be our wishes, our inclination, or the dictates of our passions, they cannot alter the state of facts and evidence. So that's what we said, I think, on the last show you were here. You said some things that we talk about on the show might make you feel uncomfortable.
Right.
But that doesn't change the thing that those things are facts. I mean,
you can't argue the facts.
Yeah.
They're evidential. I mean, you can show them as being true, right? Yeah. You can not believe or whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It's a fact. It's right there in front of you.
Yeah. Well, the thing I hear often is, okay, obviously we know gravity, but we don't see it.
Yeah.
But the thing I always reply though is that, okay, yeah, we don't see it, but we can measure it.
Yeah, you can test it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But jumping out the window.
Yeah.
Take your book with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you can see it. It's demonstrable. That's the problem. That's where religion fails in a lot of times. They say, "Oh, I see God all around me." Everything they bring up, I can explain.
Yeah.
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 And if I can't explain something, I'm more than happy to say I don't know.
Yes.
Instead of like saying, "Oh, because I can't explain it, God did it."
Right.
Yeah, just go ahead and demonstrate that theory of gravity by jumping out the window over there.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Yeah. You've wasted my time.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right, next
Let's
one
move
is
on.
yours.
Let's go on with my quote here. This is a short one, once again by Thomas Jefferson. It says, "Educate and inform the whole mass of the people." So Thomas Jefferson was into educating everyone.
Yeah.
And I follow his train of thought. Recently in the United States, they've been talking about like making up to an associate's degree free, making the government pays for that. I'm all for that. Even making like all the way up to bachelor's degree free.
Yeah.
I'm all for that because that means less stupid people.
Yes.
We don't have to deal with. The more people that you educate, the less dummies that you have to deal with in this world.
Yeah. The problem, though, in America lately is that there are certain schools out there, and even some colleges, I believe, where they only teach like creative, intelligent design, and they don't teach evolution, and they change like the basically creationist timeline. My question to you is...
Yeah, they're silly. Yeah.
Yes, but my question to you is, I mean, okay, in America, obviously, a lot of people are always bitching about, freedom. I have freedom to do that and freedom to do that.
Right.
Although I always think freedom is a double-edged sword. What is freedom for you might not be freedom for me.
Right.
If you make loud noise at night, and I have to suffer because of your stupidity,
right,
then, okay, yeah, it's your freedom, but you're hurting me.
Right.
So, okay, my question is, though, should those schools or weird places like that really only teach creationism or intelligent design, should they be legal?
Legal, yeah, go ahead. Teach people stupid stuff all the time, but I wouldn't call it a university. We need to redefine what a university is.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you don't necessarily have to go to a university to be a smart person. There are tons of smart people that didn't go to university. Sure. My father didn't go to university, and the man was a genius, right? And just we need to redefine what those are. If they're going to teach, whatever the garbage in the Bible says of magic, or even a Quran or anything like that, any kind of like old holy book. If that's going to be your primary textbook, then you can't call yourself a university. You can call it a Bible school.
Yeah.
Call it a school is fine, because it is a school. You're learning something. A music school is a school.
Yeah.
You're not learning how to do science. You're learning. You might be learning Pythagorean, mathematics or theorem.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're going to teach Bible, you can't call that a university.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
So I think they need to redefine exactly what we call those places.
Yeah. Okay.
So
next one is
the
mine.
next one is yours, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to here. All right. So we have. All right, Thomas Jefferson again.
Love that guy.
Yeah. This is a letter that he wrote to Dr. Thomas Cooper, February 10, 1814. He says, "Christianity neither is nor ever was a part of the common law."
Yeah, I agree with that.
And unfortunately today you got a lot of people, well, specifically Republicans, who really try to bring that into the government and make laws based on their archaic book.
They should be removed from office, in my opinion.
Yes.
When you sign up to be a politician, you're doing it for the people.
Yes.
You have to be able to compartmentalize. If you want to be a Christian politician, fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to do anything with your job. You have to compartmentalize. You have to say, this is what I believe, but then again, as a public servant, I have to do this. I have to make sure that these two worlds stay separate. Yeah. When they start mixing those together, no, you're incompetent. You got to go.
Yeah, and I think you said it last time we met. You said politics used to be a service, and now it's a career.
Right. That's a problem as well. I mean, look at our Senate. You got guys in there who've been in there for 40 years.
Yeah.
You got guys in their 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
There's a person in their 80s does not look at the world the same way I look at the world.
Right.
They were born way back in like the Father Knows Best days. If you look at watch old TV shows and look how stupid those people were.
Yeah.
That's proof of evolution right there, isn't it? I mean, we've changed since then.
Yeah.
You look at the Andy Griffith show or Green Acres, you remember that piece of crap shit show? Anyways, like and then you look at like CSI, you look at like look at something like 24, look at something like Daredevil, something new, right?
Yeah.
And those shows couldn't have existed back then because the people were completely different.
Yeah, and especially like, okay, let's say you have an 80-year-old man in the Senate. Okay, well, that means he lived through segregation.
Yeah.
He was obviously against gays.
Right.
And usually people, the thing is like we as people, we are often imprinted with certain information when we are young.
Right.
And we tend to carry on that information pretty much until we die.
I agree.
So basically, if you were born into a family where they absolutely despised gays and wanted to just hang them or hang black people,
right.
Well,
and also think about it, that he was probably that way until he was in his 40s.
Yes.
So he had 40 years of just positive reinforcement of those horrible ideas, right?
Yes.
And then suddenly in 1965, you can't call that segment of people this anymore. You can't treat this segment of people that way anymore. Yeah. Now we have to all go to the same schools. This guy would have been flipping his lid. I don't know how to change. I can't change. Yeah. But in this case, what he runs for office, and now he's sitting up there making laws.
Right.
And another part is when they're Christians, and they let that influence their job. What are they really betting on? They think Jesus is coming back in their lifetime.
Yes.
These knuckleheads think he's gonna fly down.
Yeah.
Stop over the White House.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna get out, walk down, and talk to President Obama and say, "I'm in charge now, buddy."
Right.
Yeah. Just you sit down there, fella.
Yeah.
And then they think that's gonna happen. So how are they making laws? They're not in for the long game.
Yeah.
They think anytime now.
Yeah.
The Earth is going to be invaded by aliens, and we're going to be on their team.
Right.
Yeah. No. You don't get to make the rules. You do not get to make the rules.
And you got like idiots, like because they are real idiots, like Michelle Bachmann, who she really believes in the end times. The end times are coming. Like it's like tomorrow, it's coming. You know?
And her husband's gay as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, she believes what anyone tells her. Yeah. Like she just says "Are you gay? No, I'm not gay. All right, that's what I mean. I mean, it's fine if he is. Be what you are, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, just her obvious ideas and what she shows us in reality are just two different things, right?
Yeah.
Completely different.
Well, she's kind of insane, so.
Crazy. All right.
I think the last one is yours.
All right. The last one. This one is by John Adams, our second president.
Yes.
The government of the United States of America is not in any sense founded on Christian religion. Boom. There you go. It's not a Christian nation.
Yeah.
73% of the people who live in this nation are Christian, but that number is shrinking.
Yes.
And it's becoming other crazy religions, but the biggest number
is secularism.
Secularism, right? So secular people who don't care. Yeah. People who just finally said, you know what? Tired of magic. I'm tired of crap. I just want to be a good person. Yeah. That's the largest growing group right now. Right. So I think eventually they'll overtake Christianity and then that will be out the window. Yeah. I think the internet is doing that.
The internet, and obviously the older generation is just dying off. So I mean,
except for said 80-year-old man.
Well,
in the Senate.
What can you do? And by the way, the quote that you read was in the Treaty of Tripoli, which of course is very, very famous one.
Yes,
very famous
true.
document. Back in 1797, by the way.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. People who say Christian nation, forget it. I mean,
it's not a Christian nation.
No,
it's not founded on Christian beliefs. It's there's nowhere inside any of the things that says, the documents that say it's a Christian nation.
Yes.
Just people started saying that it was. It's not.
Yes, and in fact, the Declaration of Independence not once mentions God or whatever. So
it says we the people, right?
Right.
It's about humans. It's not. I'm on Team Human. I don't want to be in your alien gang. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Cool. That was good. Okay. Let's move on. So now we move on to the last part of the show. And so we're gonna do a video, but the thing is, like, we can't do the video without talking about our amazing president, George W. Bush. And actually, I would like to do more history in this show as we move on, but I actually wanted to start with Obama, but I just want to okay, let him finish the term, and then we'll really talk about him. But Bush already finished.
By the way, he hasn't ushered in the end times.
Yeah.
I saw recently that Chuck, clearly no head damage, no brain trauma, Norris.
Yeah.
Said that, you remember he said when we re-elect President Obama that it's going to be 1,000 years of darkness. 1,000 years of darkness. Yeah. Oh, okay, there, Walker. Slow down. Slow down, Happy. You know, you don't seem to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
I used to get hit in the head a lot in karate tournaments.
Right.
Okay.
Right, well.
All right.
That's probably why.
Thank you for your movies.
Yeah. Actually, just as a very side note, what do you think of him as a martial artist?
As a martial artist, founding like the guy was incredible, but he should have stayed in that realm. I mean, I do martial arts as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't qualify me to like, you know, jump up and sign up for Congress, right? So run for Congress, right? So I think Chuck Norris, he uses his fame and he uses his celebrity to make comments that I don't think anyone really wants to hear.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. What do you think about Clint Eastwood?
Clint Eastwood, same. He's kind of a douchey old man.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate his movies.
Yeah.
A great actor. I mean, I can't take anything away from that. Some of those movies were stupid, though.
Yes.
The ones with the monkey.
Yeah.
Remember when he had that stupid monkey? He's walking around that monkey shit in his truck. Yeah. All right. So, anyways.
His westerns, I guess.
Westerns were awesome. Yeah. Westerns were good.
But not the monkey.
Why does he always have an animal? He's either a horse or a monkey or...
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to talk about George Bush, and the thing is, like, even though I do have many points, I'm just going to really want to do bullet points because I want to focus on the video, really.
Sure.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. So Bush absolutely stole the presidency in 2000. I absolutely have no doubt in my mind that election was staged, and it hurt the image of the because the American democracy was always viewed as, you know, kind of flawless, I guess, and the example to strive for. I think that election just threw it out the window.
Yeah.
When we forget it.
I'm just thinking about that monkey thing again. No, I want to point out, like, I think there's been recent studies where you need like almost $1 billion to run for president these days.
Yes.
Like right now, it's going to be Hillary Clinton and Jeb Bush. Great.
Yeah, let's say,
fantastic. Great. Okay. Those guys are going to spend almost $1 billion to run.
Yeah.
That means that people like me who don't have $1 billion, who aren't taking in donations from corporations, don't have a chance.
Right.
I think back in the day, and the idea was to have one person who was going to be in charge, and he kind of represented everyone.
Yeah.
Those billionaire guys don't represent me at all.
Right.
I have no idea what it's like to have $1 billion.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you think about where that money comes from, they're all getting this money from corporations, and most likely the corporations are giving equal amounts to either one, so they can have equal amounts of influence on them.
Yes.
So saying that the presidency was stolen, I think that was the first time it was completely obviously stolen. I think it's been stolen every time since then.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, and in fact, well, just going back a little bit in history, this definitely also happened with Truman, and I will get to him eventually, not today, but Truman was a real Class A idiot. I mean, in many ways, but we'll get to him. I think we talked about that, about his army service. He basically covered it up, or it was covered up by his father, I guess.
Right. I think he was in the Air Force.
Yes, he was, yeah.
Or in the Navy, I can't remember.
He basically, like, he went to Vietnam, and he went AWOL for a year, and basically, okay, well.
I don't know how come you weren't prosecuted. He wasn't prosecuted for that, because, like, if a private or someone just goes AWOL, and I think that's a federal offense. I'm not sure. I don't know the military rules. I'm sure that some of the people in my atheist group do know the rules.
Right.
Feel free to write in and tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah, comment, leave little blogs. Whatever.
Yeah.
But if you go AWOL, I think it's a federal offense, and he should have gone to jail for that.
Yeah.
And during that time, he was AWOL.
Especially that time.
It was during a war.
Yeah.
So I know in the Army, which I served in the Army, that if you are not present when your unit deploys, That's desertion.
Yes.
And you can actually be put to death for that. You can be killed for that. I don't think anyone's ever been killed for it, but I think in the rules itself it says that. But old W, he escaped. He escaped those rules. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, that's an interesting point about the Bushes, because his grandfather, I guess, who was Prescott Bush.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve.
During World War II, he was actually in charge of handling Nazi money. I mean, everybody knows that. It's a fact. He had a kind of bank in Switzerland that nobody could touch. We'll get to World War II eventually. I'll get to it, because there's a lot of stuff that people have very strong misconceptions or misunderstandings about, and just the way that America really funded the Germans in a big way and provided them like actual weapons as well.
Wow.
in secret. I mean, that is all documented.
We always do that, though.
Yes.
Always, like, this is what happens. We give money and guns to this group. 20 years later, that group comes back and tries to kill us.
Yes.
Yeah, that always happens. That happened with ISIS.
But who cashes in, though? It's the military complex. Always, they always cash in from that, because they sell the weapons. Okay, that's money, and then we have to go to war.
That's more money.
That's more money. So
then you blow up everything, and then you have to go back and rebuild it, which is Halliburton and those kind of companies.
Yes.
Yeah. That's all. It's all there, in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, I'll let you do a few soon. But okay, he loved the death penalty. Okay, we know that. Obviously, he's from Texas.
Yeah, I want to touch on that.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
All right.
I think the death penalty, the fact that we do a death penalty in this day and age, is horrific.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what do you serve? By killing more people.
Yes.
Yeah, I think from a scientific perspective, we should take all that money and fund it into researching what caused them to cause these problems. Like, understand the human brain, the behaviors that led up to, like, your Jeffrey Dahmers,
right.
your Ted Bundys, right?
Yeah.
Because if you just go around killing them, we're not answering any questions, and we're not doing anything preventative. That whole thing about prevention. We got to try to stop this from happening.
Yes.
If we see, if we see these traits start to form in children or little kids or whatever, then we need to start looking at how do we prevent those. Are there medicines they can take? Yeah, but killing them is ridiculous. And also another thing that they do, and I know that they did this when George Bush was the governor of Texas, is they execute handicapped or mentally deficient people.
Oh yes.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. So, like, there's a mentally ill person who doesn't have any idea between right and wrong.
Yeah.
And they're like, come on into this room, young man.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a seat on this table. What are these straps for?
Yeah.
Oh, you'll find out.
Yeah.
Then they just wire them up and they give them an injection. And another thing about those injections, we don't really know what's happening. I'm not a doctor, so I can't really comment on that. But what I've heard is that it doesn't always kill them right away.
Yes.
It could be an agonizing, suffocating death.
Yep.
Because it paralyzes them and they can't scream. They're probably screaming inside their head as everything like circles in and goes dark. As their life is taken from them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's inhuman and barbaric, the fact that we have executions.
I think so too. And the other thing I want to point out with prison, since we kind of touched upon that, is in America there's a lot of people in prison who, for absolutely no good reason to be there in the first place.
Right.
And lately, the Boston bomber was convicted. He was convicted to death.
You knew that was going to happen.
We knew it was going to happen, but I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean...
Well, I mean, I understand. I'm totally against the death penalty. I don't think we should kill him, but...
And it gives him, I forgot the word, but he obviously, if he follows the Muslim...
he's a martyr.
He will be a martyr, exactly.
Yeah, he's a martyr.
So you're basically giving him what he wants, actually.
Yeah, well, what he set out to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think... What they need to do is lock him away in a room. The guy who sold all those secrets to WikiLeaks, right? They keep him locked in a room. Why can't we do that with the Boston bomber?
Yeah.
I don't think killing him is the right answer.
No.
Look at the countries that have the death penalty: North Korea, Iraq, right? I'm sorry, Iran. I think Iran does as well.
Yeah.
And the U.S.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia might.
Saudi Arabia, I think they chop heads there.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on this list.
Right.
Why do we have a death penalty at all?
Yeah.
Okay. It's crazy.
Another thing he did, he was obviously not pro-environment, well, we know that. I mean, he pulled out of the Kyoto Protocol.
Yeah.
And he, in fact, was very much in favor of dirty industry throughout his presidency.
Yeah.
Oil man, totally, yeah. He ignored warnings about bin Laden, well, we know that.
Yeah.
Just, what's that say? Not so important.
Yeah, I think it's been shown that he was making money from bin Laden and those guys. So why would he mess with the status quo?
Yeah.
He's getting income from these guys, so I'm not gonna go out there and kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but later, he once again flip-flopped and then he tried to go after him and they didn't get him until Obama took charge and Obama got him.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. Obviously my main thing is that he invaded the wrong country. I mean, if you really had to invade a country, that would be Afghanistan. That's where they trained, right?
Yeah.
Even though that's not really true either. I mean, they trained in Saudi Arabia and Germany, so why don't we invade Germany again?
Yeah.
But Iraq had actually nothing to do with it. It's proven. It had nothing to do. When they started to go to the UN with those documents, and remember Colin Powell with the you see this test tube, it could kill all of us in this room right now if I open it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stop shaking it.
And they showed those two mobile trucks that can move around and make nuclear weapons. Well, they actually claimed that they had nuclear weapons, which all of that was totally bullshit. I was watching that. I didn't believe a word of it.
Well, I mean, you got to look at that if they had nuclear weapons, we wouldn't have invaded them.
Yeah.
That's the only reason North Korea is still around, and that's the only reason Pakistan's allowed to do its foolish things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's where they train now, the Taliban and whatnot.
Yes.
They all train in Pakistan.
Yeah.
So if he said that they have nuclear weapons, that's the reason we're invading. That's not the reason you're invading, because they wouldn't invade in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he lied about Iraq's weapons. We just said that.
Yeah.
He eventually ignored the United Nations and launched a war anyway.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the war did not make the country safer. If anything, it made the U.S. even more at risk than ever.
Yeah, and what we really need to be careful now is homegrown terrorists, right?
Yeah.
So I think he unhinged a lot of people. He just made it a lot more dangerous for everyone.
Yeah.
But I mean, that being said, you can't just ignore what's going on.
No, of course not. Of course
something had to be done, but I think it could have been done a different way.
Yeah.
It could have been done through sanctions.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why America had to take a bigger part than everyone. I understand that we were attacked, but then after that, England was also attacked. Other countries have been attacked as well.
Yeah. France.
I mean, come on. Yep. Why does it always have to be the U.S.?
Yeah.
So, thanks, W.
But of course, even when the war was not going so well, actually, I really think, well, first of all, I think two things. I think that the second Iraq war in particular was absolutely a holy crusade.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that it is.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, the U.S. lost the war. I mean, I really do think that way. I mean, because you go to fight basically just people who wear kind of towels.
Yeah.
Who have, they have AKs, yes, but those are not trained soldiers. And
they're civilians with guns.
Basically civilians with guns,
yeah. Well, I wouldn't go as far as to say lost, because the problem is here. They don't everyone knows that they didn't have an exit plan. You have to go in. You have to go in and say, we're going to accomplish this, and then once we've accomplished that, we got to come out. They have to have a war planned out like that. This war is non-ending.
Yes.
And it's just a money pit, and just keep throwing money at it, keep throwing our children at it. All these children who joined the military because they can't afford university.
Right.
Which loops back to what we were talking about before.
Yeah,
they end up going over there and getting their legs blown off and stuff.
Right. I mean, obviously, I don't know what's the death toll. About 5,000, I guess.
I don't know right off the top of my head.
But the amount of injured people who can't walk, who lost arms.
Right.
I mean, that number is actually many tens of thousands.
Well, as a soldier, it's better to maim somebody than to kill them.
Yeah.
Right. It's better for me to shoot the person in the leg.
Yeah.
Now two people have to carry him.
Yeah.
So,
of course.
So people who don't have military training, they probably, making those IEDs, they're probably not meaning to kill. What they want to do is horrifically wound and injure and maim people to slow them down.
Yeah.
And then, people see, like I said, people with no legs or no arms. that's scary. It makes you think.
Yeah, didn't make Bush think though.
Oh,
in fact, he landed famously on an aircraft carrier and announced mission accomplished. When it was not, by the way, not at that time.
Douche.
You want to do from 12 on?
Okay, for number 12. So meanwhile, after he landed on that boat, and said, "Mission accomplished, boys."
Right.
Yeah, and it wasn't accomplished. That was basically a picture taking event, right?
Yes.
And he just wanted to wear a flight suit and walk around and look like a big dick.
Pilot.
He wanted to be the baddest dude on the planet for a while.
Right.
Yeah. So, but during that, and while that was happening, war profiteering continued to surge.
Yes.
So Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
He looks like the Penguin. You ever watched the 1966
1966
I know. Batman?
Yeah.
He looks like Burgess. What's his name? The guy who played the Penguin.
I don't remember.
I always wanted to go. Wah, wah, wah,
Yeah.
So I can just always say that. Anyways, Dick Cheney, who was the vice president of Halliburton.
Yes.
Which made $39.5 billion. It doesn't say what year it made that.
Yeah.
But it made $39.5 billion, and included his daughter Liz Cheney, who ran the company. Who ran a company that was $300 million in a partnership for $300 million in the Middle East.
Yeah.
So those two, the Cheneys, old Dick and his daughter, Liz. So the Penguin and his daughter Liz. You're talking about $39.5 billion with a B.
Yeah.
And his daughter got $300 million.
Yeah, and I think these figures are actually very underestimated. I think it was actually much more than that. I mean, because if you calculate the entire deficit, it was in trillions.
Right.
So a trillion and billion is a very different number.
Right.
And I think if you go from 39 or let's say 40 billion to a trillion, that's a lot of leeway. So I think that number is actually much less than it actually was.
Well, I mean, it's just like they were just writing checks for themselves, right?
Yes.
They were just writing checks for themselves, and how do you run a country ethically and be a billionaire at the same time?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
You're just starting wars on purpose, just so you can go over there and write checks, and then you get your buddy's company and your daughter's company and come over as well, write checks for them.
Right.
Yeah. It was the biggest robbery in the history of humanity. Yeah. They started the war on purpose just so they could rob and steal all of the money.
And they sure did.
And they did. Well done.
Yeah.
You gotta give it up to them. Well done. You robbed everyone.
So the next point, 14. Well, the NSA actually, that's important to say. The NSA actually was really started in a. Well, I mean, it always existed, but I mean, it really expanded under Bush. I mean, he was really responsible for that and
Patriot
the
Act.
tapping.
Yes.
The Patriot Act, exactly.
Yeah. That was like taking human rights and just slowly shearing some of those freedoms away.
Yes.
Just cutting them away. You don't need freedom. You don't need due process. Stop and frisk. You're not hiding anything, are you? If you're not hiding, what do you got to worry about?
Yeah.
It's not the point.
And there were, I think, a couple of cases where generals, for example, who opposed the Iraq War, so Bush found out, or I mean, his cabinet found out. And so while that general is out of his house at work somewhere, a special team comes in, opens his house, placed hidden cameras, tapped his phone, and of course, then they have evidence. The guy comes home after work. He says maybe to his wife, "Well, I really disagree with those policies."
Right.
That guy goes to jail.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's totally changed America.
Yeah.
If you ask me, like the America that I grew up in the 70s and 80s was completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't perfect. Don't get me wrong. I'm not claiming it was perfect by any means, but it was completely different. I'll give it that. Yeah. All right. So shall we carry on? What number are we on?
15.
Number 15. The Iraq War created federal debt crisis, which we talked about. Okay.
Next one, I guess. Next
All right.
point.
He cut the veterans' health care funding.
Yes.
At the height of the Iraq War, the White House cut the funding for veterans' health care by several $1 billion, slashed more than $1 billion from military housing, and opposed extending health care to National Guard families, even as they were repeatedly tapped for extended and repeat overseas deployments.
Yep.
So,
and it actually still carried on even into the Obama presidency, even though of course he tried to fight it, but you know, majority wins, I guess.
Yeah.
But first of all, this budget that they mentioned here, it's actually not that big. I think it's around 40 billion. Don't quote me, but I think that's the number.
Right.
But if you take 1 billion from that, it makes a big impact.
Well, look at what's coming. Look, the people are coming back from the war, and we were just talking about like IEDs, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yep.
There's no facilities and there's nothing
Right.
there in place to help them because these critical, you know, jobs have been cut. These you know, the health benefits have been cut.
Yeah.
You're saying thanks for going over there, thanks for donating your legs.
Yeah.
Now get out of here.
Yeah.
We're not helping you. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And in fact, well, I guess the budget is passed every year, right? Yeah,
Right.
of course. But in every budget, since Bush, the Republicans always try to gut like the systems that the country actually needs,
Right.
to support people.
And you realize that the people who are in Congress, they have free health care,
yes.
dental care.
Yeah.
Yeah, they never pay a doctor bill. They don't have to wait in line in hospitals.
Yeah.
They have a specific, you know, hospital that they can attend.
Yeah.
And they've never been to a war.
Yeah.
These are millionaires or billionaires
Yeah.
already who've never been to war, who's sending our kids to war. And when our kids get hurt, they're like, no, we don't really have the money to fix that.
Right.
You know, I'm sorry about that. But Cheney and the Penguin, Dick
Yeah.
Cheney, old Dick, and Dick and Liz, they got billions
Yeah,
of dollars.
yeah.
Millions and billions.
Yeah.
Why couldn't that money go to help? You
Exactly.
know, instead it's sitting in the Penguin's vault.
Yeah. But of course, at the same time, while he was gutting essential programs in the budget, he also cut the income taxes. So he cut the taxes to the richest people in America who really don't need a tax cut at all.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that also carried on into the Obama presidency because the Bush tax cuts expired definitely during the Obama presidency. So,
Well, I mean, Bush lit so many fires. I think the Obama
Yeah.
presidency had to come by and stamp out all these fires. You know, he was such a fuckwit that he just made a lot of mistakes, and he cut all these things. And like, I think Obama, even he only has 2 terms. He can only go for 2 terms.
Yeah.
He had a lot of things to try to repair.
yeah.
And he has to choose his battles. He has to say, I have a better chance of fixing this. Even though I know this is fucked up, I have a better chance of fixing this than I do of this. If I try to do both at the same time, both will fail.
Yeah.
So I got to focus on one.
Yeah. As far as I remember, I could be wrong, but as far as I remember, the only president that actually served 3 terms was Roosevelt.
No, I don't think so.
Was another one?
No, because there was 2 Roosevelts.
The
There was Theodore
second-
and Franklin.
Franklin. He served from 31 to 45.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Huh.
So it's unique.
Yeah. He's in a wheelchair too.
Yeah. We're at number 18.
Number 18.
Oh yes.
All right. Bush let the black New Orleans drown. So Hurricane Katrina exposed Bush's attitude towards the poor. He didn't visit the storm-destroyed city until much later. He praised his Federal Emergency Management Agency director for doing a heck of a job, as the federal government did little to help the thousands in the storm's aftermath and rebuilding.
Yep.
Yeah, so he
I
really,
remember that.
Yeah, he really let those people down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He didn't miss any meals.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't miss any. He didn't skip anything.
He probably was playing golf during that time too.
He's probably just saying, you know,
Yeah.
getting a lot of money in, you know, in my pocket. I don't care about these people.
And FEMA, by the way, under Bush was a total disaster. I mean, under Clinton it was good, and then Bush replaced the head of FEMA.
Right, with his guy.
One of his buddies.
Yeah.
And that one just down the toilet. So
Yeah, because he didn't care.
Yeah.
If your buddy gives you a job, you're not going to really care about it because you think you can't be fired.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like a federal job.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just didn't care.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, the last point, well, while everything was really burning in flames, he took the most vacation time. That really pisses me off, this point, because I always see pictures people sharing on Facebook, like Obama is going on holiday again. Okay, this guy, and it actually says how many days he took off. He took off 1,020 days in the 8 years that he was president.
Do you remember they would always show him on the news at his ranch in Texas?
Yeah,
and he looked like Woody from Toy Story.
Yeah.
And he had his like jeans tucked in his boots, and he had a bandana around his neck, and he wearing a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
I'm from Texas.
Yeah.
That asshole is not from Texas. He moved there. Being from there, growing up in the Texas schools, playing on Texas playgrounds, dating Texas girls, doing all these things that make you part of Texas. That dude was a millionaire already.
Yeah.
Who bought a house there, and he came there and he changed the way he talked, because he's the only person in the Bush family that has a Texas accent.
Yeah.
Nobody else, even Jeb Bush doesn't have a Texas accent.
Yeah.
His father didn't. His mom didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he faked all that, and he tries to claim he's from Texas.
Right.
I'm telling you, he's not.
So yeah, just to come back on the number of days, if you take 1,020 days off in 8 years, that's basically the equivalent of having every third day off.
Right.
That would be nice.
But think about it, 365 days is a year.
Yeah.
So he took off 1,000 in 20 days. That's 3 years. Try not going to work for 3 years.
Yeah.
see how you end up. Yeah. What an asshole.
Yeah.
Okay.